How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. There is some crazy volatility right now in the Bitcoin market. You can actually see Bitcoin falling down fairly quickly right now and now recovering as well. Just about in the few minutes before I started this video, we're seeing a bounce. We also have Michael Saylor apparently pissing off a podcast host or making them visibly upset. I want to play that for you. Also, go through what's happening right now. I think there's a fake out happening right now on Bitcoin. You can see the price falling down, but yet we can see on the backside that there are a lot of big entities buying Bitcoin right now. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this. We're outside of the office here today. It's going to be a little bit louder, so I apologize for the background noise, but I think we'll be able to make it through. What's important is the content and the news. If you want to trade crypto, there's a link underneath the video to Margex. As you can see, we did see a pretty big rally actually from yesterday where we went all the way down to 68.7, rallied all the way up to 71.5 this morning, and then turbo dumped down about to 69,000 again, so a $2,500 move, and now we're bouncing a little bit. Now, as I said before, I think as long as we stay above the $66,000 range, we're still looking bullish, because if we scroll out here, I am on pretty rough Wi-Fi, so apologize if it's a little bit delayed here. Yeah, the Wi-Fi just won't help it load. But as you can see, we did set a recent low around 65,000, as long as we don't fall down below about 66, and we still use this trend line as support. I think we're still looking really bullish. Keep in mind there's going to be a lot of volatility over the coming days because of the election and because of the Fed rate decision next week. So yeah, be ready for anything. But if you do want to trade crypto, there's the link to Margex underneath the video. Now, let's start here. You're never going to guess which way the previous months were revised. We had jobs numbers coming in this morning, and August was revised down by 81,000 from 159,000 to 78,000. September was revised down by 31,000, and we had about 12,000 new jobs for last month. So yeah, it's not looking great. The job market looks a little bit softer, which actually caused a rally in the markets this morning, because people are assuming now that the Fed is going to have to cut at least once, probably twice, because the job market doesn't look that strong right now. So the market's actually rallied on this news. Keep in mind what's happening, right? We have volatility. We have people getting pushed out of positions. People are paper handing, and IBIT has huge inflows. IBIT had the most inflows of any ETF over the last week. Now, yesterday, we actually got news that they bought another $320 million. That was after $875 million the day before, $600 million the day before. I'm working on a little chart now to show you how much BlackRock's been buying. On the other hand, lettuce hands are back. Over $2 billion was sent to exchanges at a loss yesterday as Bitcoin fell below 70,000. It's the highest amount since the yen carry trade unwind when Bitcoin fell to 49K. This yen carry trade was also when the government of Germany was selling a bunch of Bitcoin. They were selling tens of thousands of Bitcoin, just smash selling it, and that caused the price to go down. That caused a lot of people to panic. So look at what's happening, right? We have all this good news. Actually, take a look at this. Argentina's central bank is mining Bitcoin. There are a lot of people actually showing that at their central bank on display, they have Bitcoin miners. They're like commemorating it. They're showing it off, right? And yeah, we have central banks mining Bitcoin. We have former presidents, possibly future presidents, wishing Bitcoiners a happy anniversary for Satoshi's white paper. We have the companies that are buying Bitcoin being the best performing stocks. Metaplanet is the best performing stock in Japan. MicroStrategy, the best performing stock out of the S&P 500. It's not in the S&P 500, I don't believe, but it's actually performing better than every single stock in it. And yeah, apparently OTC desks are running dry. Mike Alfred, who has gained a big following over on Twitter, he says, I was skeptical about the reports of OTC desks running short of Bitcoin, but today I got 3 separate calls and I can confirm it's real. Everyone is having trouble sourcing Bitcoin. I declined to make my treasury available even after being offered free Super Bowl box tickets. People are hitting desperation. Okay, this is where people sometimes get pissed off. They hear about people buying from the OTC desks. They hear about someone buying 100,000 Bitcoin, and yet maybe not 100,000 at one time, but 100,000 over a year, right, or 3 months. BlackRock is buying 12,000 Bitcoin in a day, and the price doesn't seem to go up that quickly because they're buying OTC. I always remind people though, when there's an OTC buy, there's always an OTC sell. So if someone is willing to sell over the counter, that could be dumped on the market. So we could see a big dump and then longs get liquidated, but instead it's an OTC trade. Now, what does that mean? It means basically the market is smoothed out. We already have a ton of volatility. If we didn't have OTC desks, we'd see even more volatility. They just take a small percentage because it is such a large transaction. I don't think this is a bad thing for crypto because eventually you run out of the OTC sellers, like what Mike said there. You run out of the OTC sellers, and then it's just OTC buyers just having to buy off the open market. So eventually you get through the large sellers that are looking to offload, and there's nothing left. So I think we pretty much go to the same place that we would otherwise. It's just less volatile in the short term. But yeah, I think that we are running out of OTC Bitcoin. When you look at these ETFs buying tens of thousands of Bitcoin, you have to realize that there's going to be less and less sellers every month, right? They see the way that the world is moving. They feel a little bit more comfortable with the economy. They feel more comfortable with maybe who the president is or politics in general, and they don't want to sell their Bitcoin quite as much. So they ask a higher price. Or you can go buy it off the open market, which also pushes up the price, or off of exchanges. So I do think we are in store for a crazy next year, and I wouldn't be too worried about these OTC deals. I think what you have to pay attention to is the fact that there are a lot of paper hands right now. Where's that chart? Here, a lot of paper hands, a lot of people selling, worried about the market, and then you have BlackRock just swallowing up a bunch of Bitcoin. When you zoom out, you zoom too far in and you forget. We have just been on a tear, right? We've been on an absolute tear for the last year and a half, 2 years. Bitcoin's up, 240% over the last 2 years, I believe. Look at this. Okay. Bottom of the bear market, 20,000, 15,000. We go up, go sideways for 6 months, go up, go sideways for 6 months. What happens when we go up again and we're at 100,000, then we go sideways for 6 months, and then we go up one more time or something like that? Like, people will feel FOMO, and there's just not a lot of Bitcoin to go around. So just be careful about selling out there right now. Of course, do your own research, do whatever you want to do. But this is what I see happening in the market. Now, take a look at this. Podcast host gets visibly upset as Michael Saylor describes why Bitcoin will beat all stocks. I have some thoughts on this, but let me play this for you, and I want to hear your thoughts in the comments.
Bitcoin's doubling the Magnificent Seven. So in terms of is Bitcoin the answer? Yeah, sure. If you want to beat the S&P index, you need something better than a typical good company. A well-run company will at best keep up with monetary inflation. You need a monstrous digital monopoly like the Magnificent Seven to outdo it. But the greatest digital monopoly in the world, Trish, is the digital monopoly of money. I mean, the greatest digital network in the world is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is Facebook for money, right? It's Google for money. If all the smart, rich people in the world decide that they want to store their money in a bank in cyberspace that will never be debased and hold it for the next 100 years, right? Isn't that the best investment by definition? Because every other company has some kind of crack in its armor, some kind of attack surface. All the other companies get taxed, they have employees, they have headquarters, they get hit with tariffs and fines and et cetera. So find me a big tech monopoly that is global, that sells a product that everybody wants, nobody can stop.
It's you,
and
it's
nobody
MSTR.
Understands. No, it's Bitcoin, Trish.
Well, Bitcoin.
Okay, so let me clarify something on this. I watched the longer form interview of this. It was actually really recent on 76 Research. Not a huge channel, too. I'm surprised that Michael went on here. But I don't think Trish is upset about what Michael says. I watched the whole interview, and she seems really nice. So I think it just looks like she's maybe visibly upset because she's like shaking her head a little bit. but I think she's completely fine. I will say there were some interesting parts of this interview. I'd go watch it. She mentions that she thinks it's late for other companies to be able to buy Bitcoin, that MicroStrategy has kind of set themselves up, and they're the shoe-in, and other companies would have a hard time doing what MSTR is doing. At least that's what it sounds like she was saying. I think she doesn't quite get it, right? No matter what company you are, you can buy Bitcoin. You can put it on your balance sheet. It doesn't matter if Bitcoin's at 100,000, a million, 70,000, 20,000. Some people will always feel like it's overvalued, no matter what the price is. Whether it's fallen down 75%, they think it's going to zero. Whether it's up 200%, they think it's up too much. The key is to buy it over a certain amount of time, over years and years and years, and just dollar cost average, right? Don't look at the short term, look at the long term for Bitcoin, if you're a company especially, right? If you're an individual, maybe you can get a little bit riskier with it. You can time the cycles, you can leverage trade and stuff like that. But for a company, anyone can do it. So I think she missed the mark there a little bit. But let me know your thoughts on all this underneath the video. Let me know what you think about this market, right? Are you liking the volatility, or is it a little bit too much for you? I will say there's going to be more volatility in the future. And yeah, the market just looks really good. I mean, take a look at this too. This is coming out from the Rational Root. Short-term holder cost basis now at 64,200. So short-term holder cost basis moving back up. I think we're in store for a great rest of the year. The next couple, maybe, year from now or so, a year and a couple months. But let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much. If you want to trade crypto, there's the link to Margex, and I'll see you all in the next one.